Sup?
Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy Friday. How y'all doing?
Feels good. Feels good. I know they say when you work for yourself and all that, it's like, oh, every day of the week should feel good. You don't have to worry about Friday. But you know what? The world runs 5 days a week,
Hey,
weekend. So I'm still feeling good.
I'm pumped.
I'm pumped up.
Pumped. Bitcoin. Have y'all seen Bitcoin?
That's a bike pump, everyone.
Pump it up. Pump it up. Let's just keep pumping it. Pump it. Pump it. To the moon. Guys,
pump it up.
We're going to the moon. Get your spaceship. Guess what? Guess what? Your spaceship soon, it's going to be a Lambo, baby. It's going to be a Lambo. Okay? Pump it up. Pump
And go to
it
space.
up. How are you? Look, I'm not having a good, it's not that good of a day, but as you can tell, I'm kind of low energy. Like, you know, it's just.
Well, I'm trying to get this like
Bitcoin. Okay. I got it out. Clark, we're good. All right.
Wait,
how you doing today, Clark?
Dude, I'm good. I'm trying to get this video out.
Clark went and got his weightlifting in. Went and got his Arnold Schwarzenegger. Come on.
Dude, we had to start it up, man. It's the Arnold this weekend out in Columbus, the Arnold Classic. So, dude, hit the sauna, the steam room this week, trying to get over this sickness. Yeah, started lifting a little bit. I mean, your boy's got to get back into shape. It has been a rough 12 months.
Lots of gun shows happening in the summertime, okay? Lots of gun shows.
Time is now. So, dude, feeling good, feeling jacked up. A lot going on this week, a lot going on today.
This week.
Dude, it's a grind out here right now. Amount of counter offers, all this other stuff going on across the board.
There is.
Companies got to step up, man. I know everyone thinks it's a client-driven market right now, but
gotta put yourself in their shoes. Speaking of, what would it be without shoe reveal? So they're called the Racer Blues. This is Kevin's shoe reveal up today. They don't really match, but it was the best I could do for y'all. I couldn't find the other ones. They're stacked up in all my other shoes that actually match Homer Simpson here. So, but
blue
theme of the show.
Eiffel 65. I'm blue.
Shoes, right? Have empathy. Go walk in their shoes. So, what is happening out there, Clark? What are you hearing? What are we here for today? What are we doing?
Oh man, we're gonna do. We'll do a little be the guide, not the hero. Continue that. We'll talk golden handcuffs. Talk a little bit maybe about the clearing up some. I would say some of the confusion. I got a lot of things going on. Am I ready to sign up for a coaching program? And we'll talk about that a little bit. We covered the shoe of the day.
We did.
Eiffel 65 on blue shoe. And yeah, that's what's up in my world. Junaid, what's up, brother?
What's up, Junaid?
Misha, what is this about? Hey, we never know. We'll figure it out as we go along.
Yeah.
And Nicole, what is up?
Look, either way, we're pumped. It's Friday. It's Friday. Recruiting people, everybody that's doing recruit. I know I have been hearing everybody's been busy as heck. So cheers to you. Cheers to all your efforts getting candidates back hired again. Closing the deal is today's show. That's right. Ooh. Also, just got off the phone with the same client who has not yet closed the PM job we were working, but now wants us to start simultaneously working on another role. Sounds.
Lock it down, Josh.
Lock it down,
Josh.
He's
got to get in there on the group calls starting next week. He knows. Next move. He knows his next move. We just got off the phone like an hour ago. We got to figure all this stuff out. We got to help him close the deal.
All right. What's up, Brad? How you doing? Yeah, Junaid. I mean, look, we're live on Clark's. We're live on mine. If you're doing two screens, you're a boss. You are a boss. Okay? Thank you. Later, Josh. Later. No, we got you. We got you.
There's no crying in recruiting.
No, there's crying.
There's a lot of crying in recruiting.
I was going to say, are you kidding me?
What's up, Luke?
It's a lot of eating too. Anyway, so digress. All right, so What do you feel? What do you?
Yeah, well, let's hear it in the chat. What's the temperature?
We don't
What's
want to talk
everybody feeling like? What are we working on? How are we feeling? How's the market? How are clients? How are candidates? How's content going? We want to we got the crew in here today. Let's make it interactive. What do we got going on?
Luke, Josh, Janai. What's happening? What's popping out there? Brad, what's popping out there?
Well, so what's Bitcoin at? What's Bitcoin at?
Bitcoin is at, I think it's at 62,000. Okay. Let me just say, if I can, to any of my friends that were listening, I texted you at 15,000. I texted you at 20,000. I texted you at 25,000. I said not financial advice, and then I commented and said this is actually financial advice. I said you should do it, and I'm just gonna say, all those text messages I've got this week from you guys, it didn't go unnoticed.
Didn't do it.
Didn't. I told you what to do. Just saying. So it is at a healthy $62,139. Y'all, this time last year, it was at $17,000. That's all I'm gonna say. Hallelujah.
Oh, I should have bought. When I start buying, it's gonna dip again. So
that's usually
that'll be the signal. That'll be everyone's signal. Yeah, when I start buying, it's gonna dip.
I'm not gonna lie. I do look for people like you to start saying they want to buy when I'm like, all right, I need to go.
Yeah, I do. I love buying the peak. It's what I go to.
Yo,
I do buy the peak, man.
You and every other retail investor, so it's all good.
Dude, I'm a boomer crypto guy.
You're gonna have all your Bitcoin in Fidelity and BlackRock.
Yeah, that's you see this little silver white hair here? That's the part of me that buys crypto. Yeah.
The rest of it is all gold.
The rest of it is fiat. Yeah, this little thing that's crypto. That's my crypto IQ. Yeah.
Well, the difference, Josh, is I'm a blockchain recruiter, and I've actually been here since 2016. So I've actually been buying Bitcoin since like 2000. That's actually not a lie, but I digress.
It's 100K. I know. It's I'm just gonna hand over my wallets to Kevin at some point. I'm just gonna have him buy for me.
It's probably a good idea. Check out the podcast, Josh. Immutable Mindset. We did some good work in the blockchain world. Check us out. But yeah, I had 4.
Can you tell we're not sick anymore? By the way, guys.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Compared to last episode, the energy Monday is way different. I know. Man, that was tough. Nah, but the conversation I've had the last 3 to 4 days with recruiters, it's really been back to like how busy they are, like just how much their phones are ringing off the hook, how old clients are getting back to them, and how they're managing all of that. And I was having some interesting conversations with some people about, when you go from scarcity to abundance, and then how to handle that, how to, getting back to like, where do you spend your time?
Well, how do you get there first?
How do you, that's even a first step. Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Oh, okay.
Talking about it. Yeah.
Well, for all these folks, I would say that definitely, in the bear market, or when things were scarce, the one thing they stayed, and we talked about this, was consistent, right? They stayed consistent in their messaging, in their follow-up, in their content. They stayed very consistent in everything that they're doing, so that when the time came, they would be ready. And the consistent message that I got was, and I'll say, this is not always the conversation I have, but I'll say with these 4, they really got it, was they were looking into the future. That, they could see the writing on the wall. 2022 was horrible, right? Normally when there's a horrible year, there's usually a rebound, right? There's some rebound that's going to come. So you should be ready for it. What goes up must come down. What goes down usually comes up.
Wait, 2022 is a horrible year? You mean last year?
Oh, dang, it is 2024. I mean, it's barely, what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. Yeah. But yes, that is what I mean. But more so, things are really starting to pick up Q1 of this year. Yeah. Even more so than last year. You got the the inklings that this was about to happen, but now it sounds like it's really starting to. I mean, that's
Yeah,
what I'm.
there's business out there. There's business to win. I think a couple things I'm seeing is, I mean, number one, the scarcity to abundance. For me, with systems and my environment, being around people that could think bigger, that were executing bigger than I am is always really helpful. And not being around the negative Nancy's who is extremely inspiring for the abundance mindset. And then having the systems, right? Having the approach of I can let leads like slide off or people say no or whatever, because I just keep moving on. The train does not stop. The automation does not stop. The content does not stop. Like we keep going every single day. And there's always just like you're just always going. To me, that's what you create the abundance through execution and action.
So
and
that's
then yeah.
No, well, that's actually let's go there until y'all in the chat want to tell us what y'all want to talk about.
Yeah, everyone claimed up.
Everybody claimed up the minute we started asking y'all questions. But now that's that's an interesting place because that was one place that I've been at a couple times. In trying to figure out, really just trying to figure out, I just completely lost my train of thought, y'all. I had an idea, and then I think when I said what I said about the crowd here, I lost my train of thought. We were talking abundance. What were we just talking about again, Clark? There was
abundance, scarcity, and then I was going to talk about putting the cart before the horse. But before I get there, check out the link I posted in the chat. I don't know if it came through.
It did. I see it.
It did. Yes, I'm speaking Monday at Benjamin Mena, who's awesome, awesome guy. He's got a great podcast, the Elite Recruiter podcast. I'm speaking at 3:00 on Monday, talking about getting great clients. So we'll talk about a lot of stuff we talk about here, breaking down the digital recruiter process.
Just getting back to systems. So back to systems, right? So I have been somebody that that believed heavily in my abilities, right? I've invested a lot in my skill set, my ability to just show up, execute, and do what I do. But I also worked at Amazon. And Amazon is one of those places
that's never mentioned it.
Yeah, facts.
Never mentioned
it. But there's somebody that sticks, clear to the data and is very data centric and looks at the systems and the processes and all that. And so there was, being there as this person that just wanted to kind of show up and execute, not have a system. There was this weird imbalance where I had to kind of like figure out that I needed it. So I think there's a lot of people out there like they used to be me that believe deeply in your skill. You have a deep skill set. You know what you're doing, and you might feel like you can do this by the seat of your pants. You can do the content piece, the sales piece, the messaging piece. And you can just kind of make it all work without having any system in place that lets you know, are you getting better? Are you improving? What areas do you need to do more in? What areas do you need to do less in? And in the old brain, Kevin, I thought that I could, I thought I had it all down. I thought it was all in here. And let me say, I convinced myself that for years. And at no point did I ever look to see if that was actually true until the pain of being like, I don't know if it was stagnated so much as I just couldn't make sales. And I couldn't figure out what the problem was. And then I was like, okay, this is crazy. I'm spending all this time trying to get a sale, trying to do marketing, trying to do messaging, but I have no idea what I'm doing. I had no system. I had no plan.
And it's almost like, has someone ever done that, right? It's like, I always ask myself, like, why would I reinvent the wheel? Because someone's probably figured out a solution to this stuff, right? And it's just, you can fight it and try to reinvent the wheel yourself. You're just going to waste so much. You're going to burn through a lot of energy. I'm not saying it's all going to be a waste, but it's a great recipe to kind of just burn out. Just to think that you got all the answers, you can just figure it all out yourself. It's a tough place to be.
There's definitely the how to make the wheel better, not recreate. I mean, look, there are some, and our friend Jason Vonna talks about this, creating a category for yourself. There are not many people that can create a whole category for yourself. And so, but that's what it feels like a lot of people are trying to do. Whereas, just like you said, there's foundational pieces where you can remix it. You can make it your own, that's really what this process is it's putting it through the lens of what works and then just making it your own, because your audience will be different, your customers will be different, your clients are going to be different than whoever used it.
Getting to Lael's question here, do you feel like clients are easier and more responsive to outside recruiting with low 3% unemployment rate? I hope I can find clients when they cannot find candidates themselves. Well, that is always the hope. So my thoughts are, we've all seen how many companies screw up the hiring process, right? And it's communicate, why that is. It's communication. People don't know what they're doing. People get put in charge of hiring that have no idea, right? There's very little training on how to hire people in corporate America, and it's very obvious. That's why we exist as contingency, as recruiting agencies, whether you retain, contingent, RPO, whatever it is. So the thought process I always take is, I know those companies are out there. I know people need help and haven't figured this out, right? So if you start there, I mean, that's how you start with the abundance mindset, right? You can just look up the number of open jobs on LinkedIn. There's millions. Yeah, you got to wade through some of the ones that they keep open just to keep open and yada yada. But even if you cut that number down a little bit, there's still plenty of help needed out there. So there's always recs. It's still going to be a $150 billion industry this year. So there's always business. And then the question that you're asking, well, this is why we always focus on what's your differentiator? What's your value prop? What's your ICP as one recruiter? Right? You can't tackle 50 clients, 100 clients, right? But what are 3 clients that you could work with? What do they look like? What are their current problems? Right? We always talk about this. Kevin always brings it up: empathy plus authenticity. Use the empathy part. Like, what are they going through, and where are they trying to find candidates? Where are they looking for solutions? And what solutions have presented themselves, right? Probably other recruiters, probably looking at hiring recruiters internally. Can they get more out of their TA team? Is their TA even able to focus on sourcing and screening people, right? Really getting through into that thought process. Like, that's
genuine. Like, you have to be genuinely curious about the problem. Like, you seriously. Like,
and think through, how are they approaching it? Are they approaching it? How much time are they spending on solving it? What would it mean if they do solve it? Right?
That's actually,
yeah.
No, go ahead.
I said, just making the business case, right? And kind of going through that and thinking just starting there is a critical point. And most recruiters just go in order taker mode. I'm just looking for anyone that'll give me a job description. It's like,
so that's what I wanted to stick on right there was, why do you think especially recruiters believe that they know more, right? Like, we give so much of the ownership of the process to the other side, where we think they know what they need to know. So we don't ask those questions, right? We're like, oh, we would assume that they know all these things since they have this job. And then you start digging into, like, yeah, what have you guys done? Where are you guys looking? What searches how long has it been going? What recruiters have been? And you're like, oh, snap, you don't know anything.
You know what it is, man? And I spent thousands of hours talking to recruiters. 99% of us fell into this industry.
Yeah.
And so there was no real playbook. So there's a lot of, do I even belong here? Do I even know what I'm doing? Right? You talk to a bunch of candidates, you get a bunch of submittals, and it's like, all right, well, I know how to do the recruiting job. Okay, that's the 101 of it. There's a bunch of other levels. There's depth to this, depth to figuring out the art of recruiting, the art of sales in the agency world. And there's so many levels to go to. And that's the next battle, right? And then once you have some wins, taking a step back, and what do I bring to the table? What assets have I built up, right? Your conversations are currency, right? And how to make sense of those, right? And how to leverage those to the cold market, to your current clients, to old clients. All that stuff is that you need to spend time thinking about. But people just kind of stick in the rat race of screen source, screen submittal, source, screen submittal, like over and over and over again, and just beating their head against the wall and trying to force a rec to close. Versus, you got to understand the cadence and you got to understand the finesse, right? You can't just always be going 150 miles an hour the whole time, right? You got to hit the curve. You're gonna hit the turns and all that, and kind of be able to slow down and speed up. It's a lot more, kind of Formula One, right? Where you're not always going full throttle.
So Clark, what's one thing that you would tell somebody who is an order taker? Like, let's keep it real. If you're out there, you know if you are, you know if you push back, you know if you ask questions. For somebody that knows they're an order taker and doesn't want to be, but they also don't know how to not be, right? Because that's just all they know. Where do they start?
Ask for help. Find someone that you know. It could be someone you know in the industry. It could be us. All that. Like, admit what you don't know and admit that you want to do it a better way, in a different way.
There you go. That's how you
have
start.
to do that.
You have to be honest AF.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And then you have to invest and make it happen. Do you always have to pay to invest in that? No. Some people might give you the time of day. I worked at Aerotech and I had a great manager. I was talking to my manager every day about this stuff. And then when I got into sales, I'd meet with the director of the office at least once a week.
Yep.
To talk about my meetings and how I was interacting with my recruiters. Like, I was constantly seeking and getting mentorship, because that's what it took to be successful and to get to where I wanted to be. And I was going on meetings with other successful managers. Like, I was immersing myself with people that had made it, and also different styles, and then learning their story and what they went through and all that. Like, I just wasn't alone in all that. And I just had to get the stuff out of my head and the different scenarios that were going on. And that's one of the most impactful parts of what we do in the program. Is, sure, business development, automation, content, trying to get business is great. But what I love is just figuring out, well, what's going on currently? Like, what can we clean up? What can we fix? Right? What's some of the time wasting activities or clients that we can just kind of figure out how to get rid of, right? To open up time to allow more good. And that's a huge part of it. But mentorship is the way to go.
Definitely. Yeah. When it comes to that, for sure, we talk about believability, and, that honesty isn't, most of the problems that we're solving for them and us are internal. They may feel external, but they're not. And one of those internal problems is like candor, like being radically candid with yourself too. Because I've been there. I've told myself a story. We all tell ourselves stories, right? But if you are sincere in that you know you're doing something wrong and want to fix it, you just got to start with honesty. And then you have to reach out and you got to actually take action to rectify it.
I'll give you an example. I have a client that's stringing me along, or I don't know, should I keep working with them? Like, how do you fire a client? How do you get a client in line and let them know, hey, this is what the market is saying, and not make it about yourself, but make it like, this is what the reality is.
Right.
Typically the biggest impact we have is helping people have those conversations and figure out how to approach them the right way. What if they get mad? What pisses them off? Well, does that matter? In this case, are they going to give you money, right? Thinking you have a client when you don't. If you have a signed agreement and it's contingent and they've never paid you, you don't have a client. You have a promise of a potential client if you do about 50 things correctly.
I mean, technically, you have a piece of paper with a signature on it. Let's keep it real.
It's just as good as getting the crayons and the coloring book at the restaurant. It's as equally as effective in the beginning until it's not. Right. But a lot of us have been through the contingent, the new agreement. Oh, we got 20 roles if you fill just this one. So we jump to fill the one, and then we realize, like, oh, I didn't qualify this the right way. This one's not even going to close. How are 20 more going to close?
Yeah, I know that goes to like the experience level, because I mean, especially when you're inexperienced, like that dopamine of just getting a contract signed, right? Like, especially in the beginning, and then you're, there's so much you have to go through as a recruiter before you realize what good and great is.
Oh,
and you can be strung along for I personally was somebody that was strung along for months on months on months until I realized it was a bad client.
It's typically the good people like you and the people that want to do it the right way that need us the most, because they almost get too nice because they assume the best. And I just always assume the worst until someone proves me wrong.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to set up your day. It's actually different. It's not being negative. It's just, you have to be, we was talking about being a leader as a recruiter. You have to lead as a matchmaker. You have to lead the client, the candidate. So you got to be 6 steps ahead of them at all times. So if you're newer and you don't know how to get there, you got to figure out how to be 6 steps ahead. And you got to be proactive and not reactive.
Yeah, now you're like bringing me back to like all my hiring manager intake calls here.
I don't think this one's for you, buddy. I think you need to log off.
Nah, that's the crypto homie. Zippy. Hey, that's Twitter, dude. I'll see you on X in like 2 hours.
That's what I told him he's got to get to the crypto live.
I do a X Spaces around 12:30. So nah, he's
a little lost. He was looking for an airdrop.
Oh, he's coming from. Oh, that's right. I'm broadcasting this to Twitter. I didn't realize he's coming from Twitter.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I didn't realize.
He's gonna hop back on for the crypto live.
Yeah, facts. I see. Really.
Just having fun, Tippy. That's funny.
No, he's good. Nah, he knows.
Oh, we got you. I'm just messing.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So but going back to kind of some of the things we want to talk about. I know we said we wanted to touch a little bit on systems, and the other piece that's been the theme this week that I definitely would love to just touch on, and I think it really powers your understanding and idea of how to approach this process with other people. And again, that's the hero and the guide, and understanding that the people you're trying to reach out to, they are the hero, right? They are the people that are looking to get an end result. They are the ones that are needing help to get to where they're at. That's why you're probably having a chat with them, right? You have an expertise that's going to guide them along a path of steps to get them to where they want to go.
Yeah, and a guide, and being that guide, a guide knows what they've been through. They know who what they've tried before. They know who they've worked with. They know what that old recruiter probably did and didn't do, right? Or so they can kind of assume that. So they're just asking the right questions to verify, right? Verify that, seek to understand.
Good point.
It's hard because I know it's a grind, and I know recruiting's a grind, whatever pricing model you're at. So it's just like you just go. But the biggest value that you can have is to slow everything down for your candidate and slow everything down for your client, and make them feel in that moment that they can be upfront with you, that they can tell you the truth, and that you're constantly providing that environment. And at every step of the way, not assuming. You're almost doing all those different check-ins, right? Hop on the phone and hear out their tone, right? Interview prep or post-interview or offer, like just creating that space for them to be just blunt and honest. But it's on you to do it, right? And if you don't know how to do that, we got to fix that first and foremost, because you could get 20 leads a month, right, as promised by everyone in your LinkedIn inbox. Doesn't mean anything if you don't know how to carry those people through to the finish line.
Yeah, they're looking for a transformation. They're looking for help.
But they got their walls out.
Well, that, and if also if they knew how to fix it themselves, they would have done it. It would be done. So if there's if
they could figure out a way to not pay a $20,000 placement fee, they would.
100%, which is why that piece of paper with that signature means nothing, because 90% of the time that's exactly what I'm literally dealing with. I'm literally dealing with it right now. I'm literally have somebody that I'm dealing with it right now. I can feel that they're trying to figure out how not to pay me. I can feel it. I know it. And you know it too. So, to that point, like,
call it out.
Call it out. And that's exactly what I did in the email that I sent this morning, because it's a waste of your time. Because again, as Clark said, you have not been paid. And I'll say this for me, because I'm an empath. I'm somebody that absolutely wants to do the best for you. I used to get paid 8 hours a day and work 17. I used to get paid 8 hours a day and work 17 because I thought that when you trusted me with something, like that meant something. But that's because my heart is big, right? There are people out there that know that about you, right? They know that you feel that way, and they will take advantage of that. So it is important that you speak up for yourself, or you'll find yourself going, like I did, months on end, wondering, what are you doing? Where is the money coming from? Where do I go next? Yeah. And now let me tell you how I solved it. And it's the craziest thing I've ever done. But and you don't know until you know. So I know this will sound crazy for anybody dealing with scarcity. I had one client. They were this one client, and I fired them. I just fired them. I let them go. And I had no idea where my next paycheck was going. But do you know what I didn't do? I didn't spend 17 hours a day working on that job that would never pay me $1. Instead, I put 12 hours a day trying to find another job. And then I found one within a week. And then I was paid.
Put your time where you can get the ROI, and you just got to know what sunk costs are.
Sunk costs. Economics 101. Hey, no such thing as a free lunch. Let's talk about sunk costs. I think
you have been talking about it.
That's true. That's true.
Well, let's talk about something fun.
Let's talk about.
This is all fun, but
what you got,
dude? We got our boy George here.
What's up, George?
George, he
killing it.
Started
George.
as a recruiter. He dabbled a little bit last Q3, but he's able to quit his job, start full time working under Ross Cooper, who's an awesome guy, big crypto guy, by the way. And first post ever, 70 likes, 15,000 plus impressions. Got candidates in the door. Got a business development lead from it. Call for his agency already set up. So roles that they want to talk about.
Oh, real quick, context. So for you guys, Mr. George Levitt is in our cohort.
2 weeks in.
2 weeks in.
First week, he thought he was fish out of water. I'm a new recruiter. I'm not ready for it.
Yeah, he thought he was.
Show
he
up.
Was like, what am I doing here?
Show up. What we tell him to do? Show up to the calls. Go through the modules. He's doing all that. Now he's rocking and rolling. He's like, oh, I know I was nervous at first, but now I'm rocking. And it's like, I was like, George, we got 12 more weeks, 11 more weeks of this.
And if I can say, George, and for everybody at home that's like, okay, what do y'all talk about now? So again, George is a new recruiter. He doesn't create content online. Does not have a history of being a content creator. Does not look at himself as creative or a content creator. Okay. But had a belief that he could do better and be better with the right information. And then trusted
that he could learn.
That he could learn. There you go.
Willingness to learn.
And then he showed up. He showed up. He did the work. And he got results. And that is because two things, in my opinion. Number one, because George has the initial,
Within 2 weeks, by the way.
Within 2 weeks. And that's because George has the utmost initiative. He has that drive and ambition inside. And you got to have that. You got to want to be a high performer, right? Like you got to do the work. But also the second piece to that is because the material is damn good. And the material is, if you do the work, it'll provide the results so that you can be better at sales and content connected to automation. And that's what it is. That's what the context of what George. So George created his first post. Go look at his page. He created his first post, okay? And what was the result of him coming to the classes, 3 classes, showing up, reading the modules for 2 weeks? What happened, Clark?
70 likes, 15,000 impressions. We haven't even fixed his about section yet. He just got ahead of the game.
And that's just the dopamine.
Still got a lead. Yeah.
And he still got a lead. An inbound lead.
Get in there. Inbound lead. Get in there. Like it's
more so than anything. It's that like and I don't mean like it's not rockets. It's not that hard. It's not.
Well, with us, it's not.
It's not.
Because once you have the feedback loop, once you get the coaching, once the material's there, but once you don't, it's the Wizard of Oz, right? You got to unleash, you got to pull back the curtain. It's like, oh, that's what it is. But until you get there, you don't know.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And you know what? And I know, but I'm huge into sports. I played college ball. I play pro-am basketball. Like I'm pretty good. I'm pretty nice. I'm pretty athletic. Right? Pretty good. Okay. I play with some pro athletes. You know what they all have? Coaches.
A jump shot.
No. coaches. You know why they have coaches? Because they're high performers. Because they know that they know their game, but they know that they need an outside perspective to see the little leaks here and there.
Well, and the margins for error. What is that accent? For error in basketball, just like in recruiting, it's so competitive.
It is.
That you have to stand out, right? The other agency, are you having a better conversation than the other recruiter is with the same prospect? Are you having a higher level? Like you have to, it's the margins are small because there's so much competition. You can't afford to blow it.
Okay, so stick with that right there. Now, with what Clark just said. So here's the power of that, right? Most people waste their time because they don't have the answer to move forward, right? Most of the time we hear people say they don't know what to say next. They don't know what to do next. That is the point of having a coach.
But your competition is figuring out what to do next.
Right. And so if you're somebody that can execute at a high level and you're already thinking about, like, you already have that a lot of self-awareness, right? Then you're probably asking those right questions. You're just looking for the right answer. That's what the coaching program does. That's what a good coaching program does, is it accelerates your learning, because you're going to learn the modules, and then that's going to create new concepts and new ideas where you're going to connect them to old concepts and new ideas, or old concepts and old ideas. And then you're going to make them fresh and new, but then you're going to want to figure out how it all connects and unclutter that. That's where you need people that have gone through it 77 different times in 88 different ways, so they can look at that abstract picture, right? Use our 15 years of experience and then give you a strategy that's going to work, and boom, you go. And that's the power of a coach. It saves you time so that you can use that time to scale in the places that you want to go.
That's it. That's it. We got our boy Chris Franny. We posted, got 300% ROI his first 90 days in the program. Got a 700,000, or about to get 700% in the pipeline that he's looking at. I always say, show up, awesome attitude, one of the coolest dudes out there. Puts in the work, shows up to every call. Ask questions on every call. Opportunity presents itself in different ways. It's not just, black and white. There's so many different ways. So just be able to kind of understand how we could leverage everything, and it's capitalized, right? That's it. You can check out.
Stayed curious, stayed asking questions.
Yeah. Did all the work. I mean, you have it here, and kind of the about section, you can start to see some of the content they just post, and it worked, right? Able to find leads, able to find candidates in a tough market. NIT, be able to kind of cover the recs that he was on, but do business development and content. Like it was all and, right? Yeah. All in the same amount of time, actually less time than he was doing before, right? And then that's, he's got 3 kids, got a family, all that. So he's got able to handle his job better than ever, and still got time to do what he's got to do.
And right? And you know what it is, and I think we see this a lot, Clark. We notice this a lot, where a lot of these folks, like a Chris or anybody else that we have in our group, or George or anybody, the basis for what we do at Digital Recruiter is sales, automation, and content, right? What do we usually notice in that process of learning about people and how they're utilizing them?
Well, it's just impossible to cover all 3 at a high level at once. And so we're coming in, we're doing initially like a roadmap call to figure out, okay, what's the point, right? One of the most recent ones I had, someone's like, I don't know what to write, how to write, what to say. I need help with content, right? She killed it in Billings last year. She got a lot to work on. It's just how to become efficient and effective in communicating what she does really well, and what hiring managers want to hear and what they need to hear and see from her, right? To turn the cold market into warm leads, into clients. Again, so that's our focus, right? Like that's the first thing we want to focus on. That's great. We'll layer around some automation as well, but that's what she wants to see first. And immediately, right, we're getting her feedback on content and all that, and she's actually off to an awesome start in writing. So it's right there. She's able to get that validation. Now we can layer on the automation, the content. Right. And, and I cleaned up a couple things on the intake and the rec qualifying process. That's like, hey, make sure if you're not asking these questions, like it was something I found out in our conversations, make sure you're asking this conversation. And it was able to explain to her why. Right. And I think the question was, how long has the role been open? because once you know that, and once you're able to fill it, say in a couple of weeks, you're able to leverage that time to fill difference, right?
Yeah.
Going forward in your testimonials and your results and like how all that works. So again, those little things that you can kind of touch and clean up that also expand and make the rest of your business better and make it more impactful as you do more marketing for your new leads. So just
interestingly, as you were saying that, I was like, man, you know what would really help you understand that and like think that through? Empathy or worldview. Because, you know, sales, automation, and content, again, here go back to all we're saying. Hero guide. It's not about you. And if you're thinking that process of sales, automation, and content through the lens of how can I be of service to you? How can I help you with your problems with my skill set? If you're like sincerely thinking, if you're sincerely thinking and strategizing and planning around them versus what makes you great, your wins, those placements, and the stuff that they generally probably don't care about.
It all comes back and helps your profitability.
It
Your
does.
bottom line. I mean, that's why we do it. It's not that's what we're all doing this for, right? In terms of building a business. You want to build a profitable business that you can be proud of,
Yeah.
but doesn't also take up all your time, right? You can still spend time with family and people that matter. Because at the end of the day, that is what matters, right? We get one shot at this whole thing.
And to that point, all their problem is, you know, our problem as business owners is usually revenue, right? Like it's revenue based, and usually for hiring managers, I mean, yeah, their problems are not, but by solving their problems, they will solve yours every time.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, really just putting that focus back on. And I know it can be hard because I've been there where all I'm thinking about is my problems. What am I going to do next? They should but that's where you're stuck on. What do I say next? Because you're worried about you. That's why you're stuck on what do I do next? Because you're thinking about it through your lens of the hero, not the guide.
Yeah, but you still need help there, right? Like there is validity to what do I say? And if you haven't been through that situation before, or you don't know, or you went through it before, it didn't work out.
100%.
You do need help on figuring out what to say next, right? And that's where, I mean, the amount of messages that Keely and I will help people with on the Tuesday calls, and just like those little scenarios. And then they were like, "Wow, it worked! Great! Yeah. Now you have that going forward forever. Like you now know what works." And that's the beautiful part when you get into a good program. Once you see something work, you have it in perpetuity, right? So it's not, oh, how much money can I get back in 90 days? Although I want you to get 3, 5, 10 extra ROI in 90 days. But it's one of those things that are going to unlock ROI, revenue, and make it so you don't blow opportunities when you're on the phone, right? You don't blow the rec call that you have today to finish the week or on Monday or Tuesday, right? Or, you handle the submittals and the feedback and all that, like, or just giving them the market realities, right? Knowing how to have all those conversations is critical. And if you're not quite sure how to handle it, if you're not able to just jump on a call and just handle whatever a prospect throws at you and whatever questions and be able to respond to the answers they give to your questions, like you got to fix that yesterday.
No, that's a great point.
Zoom Info won't fix that for you.
Nah, and you set me in my way, and you are right. I like to talk about empathy and the fact that will drive that'll drive your actions. But the reality is most people don't understand that you can even practice empathy. And so, actually, good point. Most people don't even know how to be curious, right? You don't know that when I said what I just said, I was thinking, you should be thinking, what do they fear? You should be thinking, what do they daydream about? You should be thinking, who do they look up to? You should be thinking, who they despise. You should be thinking, what offers have they already seen, right? And when you're thinking that, then you're putting yourself in their shoes so that it'll make more sense what words to say to them, what actions to do next. But if you don't understand that empathy actually means like having an out-of-body experience to sincerely try to think about what they're going through, then none of what I just said made sense. So that's a great point, Clark. Like, number one, you can practice empathy, okay? And in my opinion, using empathy as a research tool is the most important thing you can do as a business owner, as a recruiter, whatever. You know, understanding somebody's worldview, how they got to understand what they got to understand, will unlock so much of your marketing and sales and content and messaging. And then the deeper you go with that, and that's
they're going to reveal themselves as the person to work with or as a person not to work with. If you're wondering why this all matters, why we keep talking about it, that's why. That's how you don't waste your time. That's why you do it. And it's not, as we always say, it's not to be a better person or a good person. It's just to be better at business.
Yep.
Better to protect your own time, right? Protect your energy, protect your own business, protect your recruiter's time, right? It's right. Be careful when you get busy. That's typically the biggest trap, right? Are you busy or are you productive?
And I mean, look, in effect, any effective funnel is effective. Why? Because it delivers the right message to the right person at the right time.
The biggest trap I see to this is the golden handcuffs.
100%. Oh my gosh, I know about. Oh my gosh,
the golden handcuffs.
Let's talk about
that. Happens all too often in the industry. Yeah, let's talk about it. So, what is the golden handcuffs? You go off on your own. You make 150, 250, 350 in a year. Good money, right? If you were stuck in an agency, if you're stuck in Aerotech, right? You're like, man, I'm making good low 6 figures. I'm getting paid first.
And oftentimes it comes from like you just making 75K the year before, and now you're making 200. Like,
life is good, right? I went off on my own. I had a couple of clients that needed help.
Taking a couple vacations that you took that you couldn't take before. Maybe you bought something.
You know, your spouse is looking at you, like, oh, okay, all right. You know,
maybe every 2 weeks, you buy something in your brain before that check even hits, don't you?
Before the guarantee's up. Ooh,
before it's guaranteed.
But that's all right.
But then what happens when you spend that money and then you got to go back to that job that you.
How do you recreate success, right? Year to year. And is it a grind? Because, you know, if you average 20K a fee and get 200, you're making 8 placements, 250-ish, making around 10 placements. Not a good year.
I'll just keep doing the same thing. Yeah, I'll just keep doing the same thing. And it's going to work next year. It worked this year.
I just need more tools.
I just need
more of this.
You know what? I just need Dripify.
But also, Dripify, I got it all figured out. I made $250,000, and I'm kind of the man.
I am kind of disgusting at this.
Kind of the man.
You know what? I'm okay. I got this. I don't need anybody. I got this.
I've got this.
It's crazy how we rationalize.
Ooh, all day. I got this. I got pretty good. Talked to a couple people like Clark and Kevin and all that. It could help, but I probably got this.
It starts emotionally. Again, everybody buys things for emotional reasons and then rational. It starts emotionally like, okay, like I'm tired of this. I know I can make more money.
What can they teach me about sales?
I know that.
How hard can this content thing? I could just use ChatGPT, right? That's what everyone else is doing.
And then you see you're like, you know what? These
rocket ship emojis. This is what's going to sell the deal.
I did buy that course in 2001. I bet that material still works. Let me dust that off. Let's check that out. No.
It's a choice. It's a choice. I can't think of a better time.
Wrong choice.
To humble yourself and figure out, all right, who else can expedite my learning curve? Who can help me get from 250 to 500 without having to work more, with actually getting more of my time back? Right, leveraging what I've already done well. I just need the help leveraging what I have done well.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what this is. Right? It's being able to pull those levers, do this over and over again, and have a system that you can then replicate if you want to hire people as well. And if you actually want to grow this thing, because people are going to come in and not going to care as much as you do because it's your business, not theirs. So how do you set them up for success when you know from the gate they're never going to care as much as you do? Right, you need systems that are repeatable, right? All that works, that gets candidates in the door. You got to get them up and running with a network as soon as possible, or tapped into their network. Right? That's why you fix the profile, you get them sales nav, you get them Dripify, you get them going on to content. Why do you do all that? So they can spend 90% of their day on the phones without sacrificing anything else. But it takes that humility to be like, 250 is great. How do I reinvest myself in the business to take the level up? 500K, $1 million. It's doable. It's doable. And there's myself, there's this program, me, Kevin, there's a bunch of other coaches that are good at helping you get there. But leveraging what you do well, reaching 1,000 people with a post versus one person with a call. I can't think of a simpler way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm like really trying to picture myself when I was at that real pivot point of, okay, I've got to figure out something else. Like golden handcuffs. I know I could be doing so much more. Like,
did you really believe me in October or September when I told you what we did?
What's that?
Like this whole program. You're like, what is going on? Like I'm a recruiter. I know how to recruit. Like, what does Clark really have to teach me?
Oh, no. Good. No, I'm not. I'm definitely not somebody like that. So, because I just always believe that I can always learn something from somebody. And even if I fail, there's still a lesson there. So I'm probably not the best person for that question. But I think my my questions or my like, what are y'all doing over there? Just comes from this market. And I feel that for everybody that's listening to us, that's like, okay, cool, guys. Cool. I feel that because, again, everybody says that they can do the empathy piece and they're we go back to fastest, cheapest, best, like they can, right? And so, at a certain point, everybody's pitch sounds the same. And so as much as I now know Clark and I love Clark now, I didn't know Clark and love Clark before. So your pitch sounded like everybody else's. You might have even said the words empathy and authenticity, which normally would be like ding, 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 ding. But I'm just so hearing pitches from bullshit that at this point, they all sound the same.
So think about that, everyone. Your hiring managers are thinking the same thing.
That's facts. Okay, that's a good point. That's exactly true. They all sound like so I've been pitched so many times on being a better recruiter. At this point, I was like, okay. I mean, granted, our conversation was about your program. So it was like, okay, cool, man. So it took me doing my own research and what you guys do and seeing the people you work with and then actually getting in the group where I was like, oh, this is different. I had to experience it a little bit myself because until then, it's just so much damn noise. We talk about this, but seriously, there's so much noise that what you said, again, you could have said everything that connected, but it was just noise to me at that point.
And that's recruiting, coaching. It's all the same stuff, people. Right. And you always got to think about that.
I just said it. I just said it.
You said it. I Mr. Bernard you a little bit, but
dang. Right person, right place, right time. Dang. And you never know because, hey, okay, good point, right? Because now I'm not saying, but let's say somebody that's like Clark, but has a pitch that's better than Clark comes to me. Now I'm ready to hear that message because now I've been involved in Clark's program. I understand what a good program looks like, right? But back then, because I was still stuck in the noise, I wasn't ready to hear it. And the only reason why I was is because I took the initiative to experience it myself. But if I didn't, like a lot of your prospects, right, that you have that first conversation with, and then it just dies there, nothing happens because they're not ready. They don't really know what their pain is. They haven't sat with that pain long enough. But then you write content and they see your content and you show up consistently. And then 3 months later, Clark, then, oh, snap, this is what's going on?
Yeah.
Then it made sense.
I was going to say, I have a real appreciation for people that have been burned by programs, and I feel for them. And I get mad at a lot of them, not the people, the programs, and there's some really good ones out there now. Like Will McGee, John, Recruiting Accelerator, Diane Prince, obviously Keely, who coaches in our program, but still does his own thing. He's awesome. I mean, there's some really good ones out there. But the people that have been burned, and I know what those names are out there, be able to bounce back and be like, you know what, that might not have worked out, but I'm just going to keep at it. And I'm just going to keep working towards it. And because they have that mission, they have that why. I have a lot of respect for them. And I've been burned by a couple of programs myself.
Oh, yeah.
They just keep going back. It's like, just because they screwed up isn't going to stop my learning. And I'm not going to get negative, and I'm just still going to push forward. And there's a lot of value, a lot of respect for that. And I think you're kind of looking for that with the hiring managers too.
Can I get a little deep with you? I'm gonna get a little deep with you. I think it had a lot to do with purpose. I think like just keeping it like super real with everybody here. I think that moment in time where I realized that dichotomy was wrong was when I realized my purpose. And again, we talk about security, right? Like security with oneself, one offer, with your skill set, with your wisdom, that knowledge and experience. Again, how you got to where you're at. You know, why is it that you can look at that abstract, you know, situation that the hiring manager has and you know exactly what the answer is, right? Like believability. I had to really, like, I really had to get that believability with myself before what you just said was like, I could do anything with it.
Yeah. It's important, please, to just be like, just F it and just go for it. All right. Like, knowing you get in what you put in, you get out what you put in. And
well,
that's just,
and you know that when it's not that you're looking for a button, but you know that you can drive more impact. You're just trying to figure out how that is because you haven't nailed it down.
Well, who's going to support me in the work?
Yeah.
Right? Who's going to support me in doing the work? I mean, because that's why I love having you with Christina, Ross, and Keely. Like, I just get stuff done. If I get stuck, like, you guys are there to help.
Yeah.
And that's what I need. I know I'm going to get stuck. I just want to get over that hurdle as quickly as I can.
That's actually a good point too. Recruiting is pretty lonely, especially if you own your own desk. You know, if you're at an agency where a lot of people are successful, they put up a leaderboard, right? Maybe you're new. You know, there's a lot of friction there where you have to send a representative. You have to be somebody you're not. I used to work at corporate, so I know, right? I used to send my representative.
Amazon, if you didn't know.
I used to, and Microsoft, but you know, you really did have to send your representative because you feel like you have to be this like higher tier person that doesn't exist. It's so lonely. It's the loneliest place. Yes. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And I accelerated the shit out of my career the moment I realized that it doesn't have to be. When I got with people like you, with Joel Alge, with Junaid Iqbal, with Adam Posner, when I started actually believing that,
find your tribe, baby.
Find your tribe.
If you're listening to this at 3:00 still,
yeah,
and you're not in it right now, I think you know where you need to be.
The digital recruiter. That's what he was saying.
That's it.
We got a community. It's really lovely. We're all very nice. We like to talk to each other. We do it often. There's high level. I mean, look, if you
like to win and have fun while doing it.
We do. And I don't know if this is high level. Maybe it's mid level. Maybe it's low level. All I can tell you is the premium content that we have there is not stuff you're going to get here. I can assure you that. I can assure you. That's the reason why George.
The most mid-level program. No.
It is. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But hey, if you're getting a lot of value out of this, imagine somebody who never creates content, new to recruiting, starts 2 weeks ago, creates his first post, gets the dopamine of 70 likes, an actual inbound lead that's tangible. And then who knows what will happen 2 weeks from now.
Just the beginning.
The
next post might get 4 likes. Who cares?
Who cares?
Keep going.
That's not what it's doing.
It still might get a lead. You never know.
Impact, baby. We do it for impact. We don't do it for likes, comments, dopamine. Who cares? Nobody. We teach practical, useful content. Most people don't even like that. Let's keep it real. We're not telling you to put selfies up there. No, that's not going to get you business.
Cringeworthy or embarrassing.
No. Business. We're here to help you get business.
Create content that sells. How to get great clients.
Context.
No one has. We have the best clients. So that's you. You need a tribe. Come on in. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Book a call. I'll put the link in the call in the comments. You can find it on my profile. Book a call. Let's talk. Let's figure it through.
And at the end of the day, if none of that made sense, y'all, just buy Bitcoin. Just buy Bitcoin, baby.
Pump it up.
Pump it up.
Pump it up.
Or if you're like Clark.
Yeah.
Oh, no more feeding the ducks. Oh, it's different.
Now we're rocking.
Oh, this is a different vibe.
This is rock. Yeah.
Now everybody's like, what? Oh.
They've gone.
They left. They left. Well, to anybody that is still here,
we appreciate
thank you.
Hey, have a great weekend, everyone.
Please.
It's super fun. I love getting the messages and seeing y'all tune in and people commenting and I feel like I see a new person every time on here, which is super fun.
It is.
Zippy was my boy today. Luke, Krista, Leo, always appreciate you joining. Josh, Joe Tide, Kirsha, I know she had to go. Bradley, oh, what's up, Bradley?
Yep.
Bradley's our Cal Ripken. He's our Iron Man. Nicole.
That's facts.
Yeah.
Brad is our Cal Ripken.
Yeah. I
My
love Bradley.
man.
Yeah.
Hey, don't let the streak go. Don't let the streak go.
No. All right, man. Well, Monday, I'm presenting at 3 Monday. Kevin's going to practice for karaoke tonight. I'm presenting at 3 Monday at the Recruiting Summit by Benjamin Mena. Put the link in there. Sign up for that. We'll do a quick 30 minutes on Monday.
We should.
Maybe I'll do it right before the event. Maybe we'll just do 2 to 2:30.
Oh, that's right.
Because I'm doing that at 3.
Yeah, we should. Just a lead in. We could just talk about what you're going to talk about in the event. We'll just get you prepared. That's it. Just get you prepared.
All right, guys, show up Monday and let's get me hyped up for.
There we go.
At 3.
We'll see y'all Monday to get Clark hyped up for his talk, and then we'll go from there to his chat. Deal?
Let's make it happen.
Deal,
okay. It's free, by the way. It's a free thing to RSVP to sign up. So
we're going streaking.
Everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it.
Well, Brad's doing it. Do you see? Brad's doing it. You don't see Brad? Brad's doing it.
Where's Brad? Who's Brad?
Brad's streaking in the comments.
Yes. I always call him Bradley. I don't call him Brad.
Oh,
there it is.
Sorry.
Thank you, Krista. All right. Beating the Ducks. We're out. Have a good weekend. Have fun. Enjoy the family. Take a break. Take a rest. Come back at a strong Monday. Let's go.